the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision Bill Fisher. There's soon to be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Scripchuk. And our Batman, master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical. Our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission? To fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Welcome to the Garage Heroes in Training Podcast. I'm going to be your host for this episode, and my name is Bill. Who else is hosting?
I'm Vicky.
We have a returning guest, Miss Vicky.
We do.
She's been here.
I love this guest.
She's been here before.
Yes, she has been.
She'll come again.
Yes, she will.
She's
one of my very good friends in racing.
She is. That's right. She's a good friend in terms of good friend, and she's a good friend in terms of good driving. Mm-hmm. She's been autocrossing for, I don't even want to know how long, because she's very good at it. She leads one of the autocross clubs in Northeast. She is one of the hosts of the Shifting Points podcast. We have returning guest, Audra Tella.
Hello. I'm very flattered by all of it. Thank you.
That's
it's an honor to be back.
Not a problem. Audra, I was looking at the calendar and I had to call you and send you a text and say, hey, are you coming on? Because I looked at the calendar and it looks like we have, in spite of the snow that's falling outside my window right now, it looks like we have this season called spring. And when I think spring, I think, how do we get people to start racing or driving or having fun with their cars? And in the spring, the weather gets nice. There's this great thing that you can do. It's called autocross. And when I think autocross, I think Audra.
Mm-hmm. Again, very, very flattered that you think me and autocross go together. It's great. But spring is for autocross.
It is. Mm-hmm. Spring is for autocross. So we were thinking the reason we started this podcast was to show people how we do things so they can learn from our mistakes and to try and get people to start. So autocross, we always call it the gateway drug. It's, it's not quite the first one's free, but it's pretty low cost. How do people start autocrossing if they're going to get out there and start having fun with their cars? What's the best thing for them to do?
Best thing for them to do is to find a local club that does autocross and register. That's it. You can drive just about anything. You can't have a tippy vehicle, no SUVs.
No rollovers.
No rollovers. We don't want any rollovers. So you probably want to, the best source for, what you can and cannot use for a vehicle is actually the SCCA regulations. So you can just Google Sports Car Club of America. They have a great reference out there. We use it. I know we're poaching, but that's okay. They don't seem to mind. And just register, get out there. You don't need, when I started, I had, run flat tires. I had done some modifications to the car, but it wasn't for autocross, just because, it was there. But there's, you don't need much to get started. You don't even need a helmet. Most places will loan you a helmet.
So I have to wait until I get my bolt-on turbo kit, right?
No. Do not get the bolt-on turbo kit.
Okay. What about my coilovers? I can't autocross without coilovers, Audra.
Do not get the coilovers. The best thing you can do is to learn with a bad tool.
Okay, but what about
because you learn good habits with a bad tool.
What about my racing slicks? I gotta have racing slicks. I'm a racer, right?
Absolutely not. You can start with your run flat tires. Again, it will build good habits.
It will. But what about I've got to get my new C8 Z6 Z06. I've got to have the 8,000 horsepower.
Well, if you're gonna have that, then we need to co-drive together, and I'll show you how to drive.
Okay, Audra will volunteer to be an instructor for this car. Not a problem. So
we've had people come with like an old Toyota Corolla and rock out with that car.
But you can't have fun in a car like that, Audra.
You can have fun in anything.
Really?
Yes, it's absolute giggle factor.
Giggles per mile, quite high.
Giggles per mile. Yep, 1 mile, giggling all the way.
Okay. All right. But what about if I'm slightly concerned that I don't really know what I'm doing and I don't want to feel out of place and nobody's going to welcome me to this club that's private that nobody else is allowed and I don't know the secret handshake.
It's not like that. People are going to friendly you to death. People will give you advice whether you want it or not. It really is a very welcoming sport. People love novices. People love to see, somebody come out and try it. It's a huge win when you have somebody come out and they're like, their first run is 130 seconds. And by the end of the day, they're down to 80. And everybody's having a party for them because it's awesome and it's fun. And they're smiling the whole time. It's very welcoming.
What are, say for instance, I'm ready to go out and do this. Obviously, I go online and I find the one that's local and I sign up and find my way there. What are some of the basic things that I should have with me for a day of autocrossing?
Your basic things: a hat, sunscreen, snacks, lots of water, and a car.
Okay.
And if it potentially has the chance of raining, bring it. Just in case.
Actually, so if you're coming to an autocross in the spring in the Northeast, bring 4 seasons worth of clothing.
Okay.
May change.
Extra shoes. Yeah, bring suit. Yeah. Because it could change throughout the day. Yeah. You'll start off in your parka. By the afternoon, you'll be in shorts.
There you go. So pack a lunch for yourself because you're not really going to have time to run out and go get food.
It depends on the club. With Boston BMW, we generally have plenty of time to come out and to, run out to get a quick bite to eat. Quick, we usually have, half hour to 45 minutes to have lunch. Some clubs, they do it on the fly, so you may not have that time.
So since all I'm doing the day when I go out to do this is since all I'm doing is driving, I don't have to get any rest and I can drink heavily the night before because I'm just driving a car the next day.
It can be done, but it's not recommended.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
You
should
will
get a
get
good
tired.
night's sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you will get tired. You will probably, depending on the club, have a work assignment. So you may have to go and set some cones back up or do some other function.
So is this usually a one-day event or is this a weekend event?
Generally, it's a one-day event.
Okay.
And as Bill was saying, they're pretty budget friendly. So they're usually around $50 plus the cost of the membership. There is usually a cost of membership to go along with it. So yeah, pretty low cost. The wear and tear to your car is basically tires and brakes, and even then it's not too bad. Maybe you'll have a cone mark or 2 on your car that you'll need to wash off after the event.
Yeah.
So exactly what takes place at this event? What is autocrossing about? What
to expect when you're expecting? Exactly.
What can I expect when I get there?
What you can expect when you get there. So you will arrive on site. There may or may not be some type of registration process that you'll have to do when you get there. You'll have to probably sign a waiver. And then someone will tell you where to go in a nice way, where to park your car. Once you park your car, you're going to want to take everything out of it. Anything that can turn into a projectile while you're driving. As autocross, it is a performance event. So you're doing, our site, the maximum speed limit is 65, but there's a lot of hard acceleration and hard braking. So you don't want anything flying about the car. So you'll take everything out of your glove box. You'll take your mats out because you don't want a mat, sliding under your pedal or so forth. So you'll take your mats out. You will go through, you'll be directed to do a tech inspection. So all the car clubs, they'll come over and make sure that your car is safe to drive. They'll check your tires. They'll make sure that your seat belts are working. They'll check, to make sure that you have full fluids. They'll make sure that your gas isn't leaking, things of that nature. Once you've been inspected, there's usually a driver's meeting, and the driver's meeting explains the course of the day. There's usually a course walk. Some clubs do a drive-through. We like to do a walkthrough, so we do a course walk. With Boston BMW, we also have novice coaches that take our novices on a course walk. So it's a little bit longer than, what everybody else will get, and they get an explanation of, what the different elements are and how to take them and, where they turn and things of that nature. Plenty of time for questions and answers. When you come back, some people will go out to work, some people will get in their cars, and there's usually 2 sessions, in the morning and 2 sessions in the afternoon. With us, you get about 8 runs usually. Some clubs do, 6, some clubs do 12, and you'll get enough driving during the day. It's more of a, well, I guess it's more social than you're going to get at the track, but you get a decent amount of driving, and it is a competition. So people like that nature of it.
So, when you get there, and you're driving in the vehicle, you have an instructor that sits with you to help you out?
So we do have instructors available. So basically you put your flashes on, instructor gets in the car and will tell you, your braking points. They'll tell you when to turn. If you're very basic novice, what we'll do is, turn now, go right, look ahead, take, turn left, you're going in between these 2 cones. This is a slalom. This is a Chicago box, things of that nature, that the instructor will explain. And then at the end of the run, they'll go through and do a little bit of a debrief, so that the person will be prepared for the next run.
So let's talk about the people who maybe aren't totally comfortable with this as an idea yet. We're trying to convince them. Are they going to break their car?
It's very, very rare to have anybody break a car. Well, I've done it, but I had a Mini,
They break on their own.
It's like they break anyway. Yeah, no, so it's really minimal wear and tear to the car. Like I said, it's mostly tires and brakes. You're not going to hit anything. You're out there all by yourself. There are other cars on course, but you're never next to another car. The worst you can really do at autocross is spin out and maybe get some cone marks on your car.
Mm-hmm. What about the trees that are right next to me and all the Jersey barriers and light posts and everything that I know they're going to come find me, Audra. I'm going to hit it.
And they're not going to find you because we have very talented course designers that make sure that the course is designed for safety. And if there is a spin zone, it'll be a spin zone that is nowhere near anything that will ever hurt you.
Okay. So what if I'm still cautious? What if I'm still nervous? I think I need to get a little TLC, to get a little extra love. Is there something for like the true newbie who, maybe overly concerned because once they do it, they'll be like, what was I worried about? But that first one can be a little intimidating because you don't know what you're getting into.
A couple of things, to work up to it. So one, for our club, you can come and you can just actually show up and we will take you for ride-alongs so you can see what it's like before you actually commit to doing an event. So that's something I would definitely recommend. There's a ton of schools out there that you can do. We have a novice school in the spring and one in the fall so that you can come out and you get one-on-one instructing. So we assign an instructor to be with the person for the day. In the morning, we do a series of elements so that you can kind of get used to the feel of the car, what the elements look like. It's a lot of repetition so that you have fun doing it, and it gets you prepped for in the afternoon. We do a full autocross course and you stay with that instructor throughout the day.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then,
does that make you feel better?
I'm still a little nervous. I'm like, what if I go and, I don't know that I know what I need to do. It's no way I could ride with somebody and learn anything because, nobody would let me ride with them in their car.
As a matter of fact, not all clubs allow it, to be honest, but for Boston BMW, we absolutely do allow ride-alongs. They're encouraged, in fact. We want people to come out and get in the car with another person. And if someone's struggling, if someone's very nervous, we'll put them with an instructor and we'll have one of our instructors take them around. in their own car or in the instructor's car. Does that help? No? You're still nervous.
I'm feeling a little warm, but I'm getting concerned. I see all these orange things littered across the pavement. How do I know which way to go?
Well, we have people out there that take the cones and throw them at your car as you go along, and they yell.
Oh, that's fun.
So we have, there's, oh my gosh, we have novice materials available, and your instructors and the novice coaches will take you out on that course walk, and they'll show you what the cones mean. If there's a lay down cone, which way to go, what a slalom is, the various elements. So they do that course walk with you, so that by the time you get into the car, you're very, very comfortable with what the cones actually mean.
Okay. Miss Vicky, you have any?
Yeah. What do we do? Besides just kind of hanging out. I mean, only so many people can be on the track at one time. What do we do on the sides?
So most people will be assigned to be out on the course. So you have a driving session, you have a working session. When you're working, most of us are out there shagging cones, as we call it. So you'll be out on a corner, and if the car comes by and knocks the cone over, you're just going to kind of trot out and put the cone back, which gives you a really good opportunity to see how the cars that are coming by, how they're driving, where they're braking, where they're turning. It's actually a really good educational experience, aside from getting a couple of steps in on your Fitbit.
Very nice. So what are some of the things, to do, and what are some of the things not to do at one of these events?
Some of the things to be open to advice and education and to having fun. Some of the things not to do is to push yourself too much, to expect, on the first day that you're going to trophy and be in first spot.
But I'm an excellent driver.
Because
everybody's an excellent driver, but it's a particular skill that we need to train on this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's that. I've went to one of these once, and it looks like the people are really mad at the cones. Did the cones do something to them before I arrived? Because they keep hitting them.
Yes, the cones are very bad. Stay away from them. So the cones count against you. It's 2 points per cone that you hit. So you definitely want to avoid hitting them as much as possible, because that does make your time go up, and we want the smallest times possible, right? So you want to get through as quickly as possible with not hitting any cones. Mm-hmm. And it's more of a precision event than it is a speed event.
Okay.
So it's learning the line. It's learning how to, the fastest way to go through, finding like that straight point so that you can actually get some speed in before you take the next turn.
So regarding the track, is there any language or
features?
Well, yeah, features, language, jargon that they should be kind of up on just a little bit to understand what's going on?
There's not too much. So it's really showing up and having no knowledge won't hurt you too much. You need to know that there are cones and that you need to go around the cones. Okay. Some, basic elements will teach you, at during the walkthrough and having the instructor in the car. So if you don't know any of the jargon, you don't know what a slalom is or a Chicago box or a pivot, it doesn't matter, because you can be taught that, at the event.
Mm-hmm. So how do you feel about, is this a good event for new drivers, young drivers on car control?
Yep, absolutely.
Like people getting their driver's license, had them for a couple months, maybe a year?
So there are a couple of things, we do have a teen survival school also, which, would definitely be recommended. But yeah, for any new driver, I think that this teaches you a lot of car control. It teaches you what to do when your car is, getting out of control. It's definitely as Bill said at the beginning, it is the entry drug, right? Mm-hmm. So this is the introduction to people generally for a lot of different motorsports. And there's a reason for that, because it gives you a basis of skills to bring to other areas.
Mhm.
Well, that was one thing that we had brought up early on in our podcast, was that you can teach a youngster, a teenager, to drive a car, but you cannot. It doesn't mean they're going to know how to control a car. So having your 16, 17-year-old go with you and experience one of these things, they will come out with a lot more knowledge on, how to drive their vehicle and know that they know how to drive that vehicle, and a place to dump their like speed aggression.
Well, I don't know. I'm having a speed aggression, because autocross is a controlled event, right? So it's not just go out there and,
Hammer.
jam on the accelerator as hard as you can and do foolish things. It's a technical event, and it does require skill. But it teaches you a lot about car control and how to, to handle yourself when you're out on the road and when things happen. For teenage drivers, again, I would really recommend the Teen Survival School or an ADSS, because that's really focused towards, learning those basic car control skills.
And the thing that I always see when we autocross is you're not going that fast by the speedometer, but things are happening very quickly, and the G forces side to side make it feel like there's nothing else in that car. That car can't do anything more, even though you might be doing 35 miles an hour. And,
They say about autocross that you're doing 11 tenths, whereas track you're doing like 8 tenths or something like that.
hopefully.
On that.
Yeah.
So, autocross is definitely the short game. You are constantly in motion. You're turning, you're accelerating, you're braking, and things are very, very quick. You have to be very speedy with your hands. You have to be very speedy with your feet. And when you're on the track, you're really on the long game. Like, you have time to prepare for that corner. You have time to take the corner. It's not these really fast movements with your hands or your feet to get through it.
So
It's part of the challenge. It's part of the fun, though.
It is. And so let's go the other way. Let's pretend somebody wants to go to a track. Does the autocross event, would that help them in any way for the track?
Yeah, absolutely. Because in autocross, you have the time and the space to actually learn what happens with your car when you do certain. Because if you're doing 11 tenths, then at what point, the rear end is going to break loose and you're going to spin. And if you do it on an autocross course, you're not going to hurt anything. You're not going to hurt your car. You're not going to hit anything. Like I said, you might get a couple of cone marks on the car. If you do that on the track, it's much more dangerous because you're at higher speeds. There are cars around you. There may be a Jersey barrier. So this gives you a lot of practice in finding out, how to control that car, how to, your oversteer, your understeer, all of these things that make you into a better driver.
Okay. We're on your side, Audra. We're just trying to get people off their sofa,
Audra, I'll tell you this much. I knew nothing about cars. I knew nothing about autocross. I went out with a couple of friends, and at the time I was not a giggler or a hugger. And it is so much fun that at the end of my first run, I was giggling uncontrollably, and I hugged all my friends that I went with.
Oh,
It's a good time. It's so fun. There's a lot of adrenaline to it. And it's
affordable.
It's affordable. Right.
And the time commitment's usually lower.
Yeah, it's a day.
Yeah.
Right?
Gateway.
Yeah. When you go to an endurance racing event with us, or even an HPD event with us, that's usually at least a long weekend, plus they're usually not right next door. So hopefully there's something nearby. Speaking of something that's
They're not
nearby.
usually $50.
No, they're not. If they are, garageheroesintraining@gmail.com. Let us know. So Audra, how do you find the autocross? Because I talk to people and they don't know what I'm talking about. When I'm at the supermarket, I talk to the cashier and she doesn't know where the autocross is. And I go get gas, and the gas attendant, who doesn't exist, doesn't know where the autocross is.
The internet is a wonderful thing.
The what? The internet?
The internet, yeah. There's this thing called Google, but then there's also a site called motorsportreg.com. So it's all one word, motorsportreg.com. And they have, tons and tons of clubs actually use them for their registration and to post their events. We do. It's a great way to go and search to see what's in your area.
Yep. I found another one.
Car specific clubs, like you can Google your local Audi club, or, we have a bunch of Porsche clubs in our area that do it. So yeah, looking for your local car clubs. They may have events or be able to point you to events.
But what if I don't have an Audi or a Porsche and I'm at the Porsche club? They won't let me race because I don't have the
well, the Porsche club might not, but your local Miata club probably will. SCCA will. Usually your BMW clubs will. Most of the clubs tend to be pretty inclusive. So whether you have that type of vehicle or not, you can usually get into one of these clubs.
And there's a lot of them. So you could probably have one relatively close to where you are right now.
I would imagine that most people have something very close to them. Even recently I found out there's a club in my area that I hadn't heard of before I've been doing this for, several years now, maybe more than several years. And, there's tons of things out there. You just have to look around.
Yep. It seems like fun. So let's imagine that somebody, we've convinced them that they're not going to explode. Their car's not going to explode. This sounds like fun. What would they see? Like, what are some of the things that they're going to do in an autocross? Like we mentioned a Chicago box, and then there's that little, I don't know what the proper autocross term is, but there's the one cone. You got to go around in a circle. And then there's the big sweeper and this stuff. Tell us, Audra. Tell us the secrets.
Those are all the secrets, Bill.
Tell us the secrets.
First you want to go on to the local club's website, and there will be, hopefully some rules and regulations for you to read. And it'll give you an idea of what the day will look like with your local club. There should be, some materials out there that will, explain some of the slaloms, the pivots, the things that you're describing. You can also go to shiftingpointspodcast.com and listen.
Oh, that's a great podcast. I know that podcast.
It's for the autocross novice. So, small shameless plug there, but we do have a whole episode dedicated to what novices can do. Tons of audio videos out on YouTube. So if you just go onto YouTube and look up some autocross videos.
It's that internet thing again, right?
It's that, those interwebs, yeah.
Yeah, the interwebs,
it's a pretty cool thing. Yeah.
Internet.
Many of the clubs have what they call a ground school. So in early spring, before our season really gets started, early April, 4 weeks from now, we actually have a ground school that'll take place at Palmer in Massachusetts here. And that is, you just go and they give you information on the various driving events. So we do a whole presentation on what autocross is, what you need, how to get into it. So look for a ground school with your local club. Those are really informative.
But how am I supposed to win if I have my little Miata and this other guy's out there in this big, Corvette with a super wing?
That is an amazing point, Bill. So most clubs actually will class your car so that you are only competing to similarly classed cars. Ooh. So if you have a Mini, you're competing against other cars that are the same, like weight, horsepower, things of that nature, so that you have an even chance of actually winning.
What are my chances of winning the first time out?
For you, Bill, very, very good.
Yes, I know. But enough about me. What do you think about me?
Oh, stop.
So Audra, you've autocrossed. What's your favorite autocross course feature, and what are the ones that just drive you batty still?
Oh boy, pivots are my enemy. I've still, it's a 50-50 chance of whether or not I'm going to get that right. Slalom's super fun. Chicago box is great. Putting it all together is the best thing. But pivots, you can take those pivots.
Just put them somewhere else. Yeah.
Put them somewhere else.
Vicky does the pivot. It looks like a gradually increasing spiral.
I try my best.
It's kind of fun. So if I go there, and let's pretend that let's just say that the autocross course is roughly 60 seconds. I do my first run, it's 60 seconds. By the end of the first weekend where I'm there, am I going to be at like 59.8 seconds, or what do you think would be possible? Not
Seriously, it depends on the driver. Excuse me. It depends on, what other experience you have.
Mm-hmm.
We have, some kids that have come out, kids, but that do a lot of iRacing,
right.
And they've taken to it so quickly. It's amazing. I'd say that you definitely will see a lot of improvement on your first day. Will you be, going from last to first? Probably not, but you'll definitely see a lot of improvement.
The other people are trying to win as well, and they've practiced a couple of days. They might have you by a few. So
they might, but there's novice classes with a lot of the clubs, so you can run in the novice class, and that's very helpful. That not only is your car classed appropriately, but you are as well.
Okay, I've got one more for you before we change subjects, Audra. I like to drive, but I have no idea what even kind of car I have. Are you guys gonna let me go out there too, or no?
You like to drive? You have no idea what kind of car you have.
Like if somebody says like, what kind of car is that in the parking lot? I'll say it's blue.
Then, yes, you should bring your blue car out as long as it's not something that is prohibited because it may tip over.
So they're not going to make fun of me because I don't know the chassis number of the BMW.
No.
Okay. I'm worried about that stuff, You
may run into people who will inform you as to what you have, though.
One of them will not be Kathy, but that's a different story.
There will be people who tell you what your tire pressure should be and how you should torque your wheels and where your seat position should be. And any questions that you have, people they're so friendly that anything that you have, they will help you with.
Exactly.
Even we've had people forget or not know to bring food, and everybody's donated granola bars and some water or whatever to them to keep them fed during the day. That happens. I've given people coats. I always have extra coats in my trunk because invariably somebody comes in with doesn't realize that it's going to be the Arctic in the morning. People will help you out.
Yes, I would say the three things that you can't forget. You can't forget water. You probably are going to need either a coat or sunscreen. Some days, maybe
probably both.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And the sleep before is what I would say is really important if you really want to have the most fun, because it doesn't seem like you're doing a lot if you think about it, but you're done by the end of the day.
It's a mental game.
Long day. It really is.
And then what do I do after I'm done, Audra? Is there anything else? Is there a place to go, people to see? Because I'm all pumped up and I got to talk to people, and nobody at home knows anything about what I do. And,
well, depending on the clubs, some clubs have a little award ceremony afterwards.
Oh, really?
For my club, we have a little place that we go afterwards to do a little bench racing and have a little food, and everybody's welcome to show up there.
And some people, I've even heard some people at this place even record podcasts there sometimes.
Some people even record podcasts there sometimes, yes.
That's right.
Depending on how much alcohol we've imbibed, it's either a good or a bad thing, not really sure.
Oh, I didn't say they released the podcast. I just said they recorded the podcast. So.
Oh, no, we've released them. I'll give you the episode numbers.
Oh, no, we've released them. That's fine. Okay. All right. Very well.
And can these clubs also be found on Facebook and social media?
Absolutely. Yep. Okay.
Very cool stuff, Miss Audra. I think maybe we are overdue for visiting you at the autocross. We are.
Yes, we have schools coming up, Bill.
I know
you want the school. We have a test and tune in August.
Ooh.
That is super fun. That is my favorite event of
August?
the year, is the test and tune. Yeah.
What is a test and tune?
So a test and tune, basically we do a small autocross course, timed course, and then there are elements to practice on, and you can go in between them at will. And it's basically they're designed for people who want to come out and like do some adjustments to, suspension or whatever. So you go out, you do some runs, you do some, some changes to the car, then you go out and see how it does. So the test and tune, you get a ton of seat time and a ton of runs. It's not competitive. It's a fun day to come out and test your car, to do a shakedown. You have a new car that you're going to be running this year. You could bring it out and do a complete shakedown of it, see how it's doing.
Is this at Canaan or is this at the?
For us, we do this at a little old airport in Air, Massachusetts, called Moore Airfield. It's a retired Army base.
I don't think you sent that one to me. I'm looking at August right now.
No, you don't see that?
Now I know why her favorite one is in August, because it's the one she didn't tell us about, because we're not going to be there. I see what's going on here.
No, we have a school May 1st. We have points events in between that. There's a test and tune August 6th, and then there's another school on October 2nd.
August 6th. Let's see if Audra shared this with me. August 6th. Audra, you did not send that to me on the schedule.
How is that even possible?
I don't know.
I'll send you the most updated schedule.
A newest, updatedest. Okay,
Yeah.
That's fine. So, Miss Audra, you are one of the hosts of the Shifting Points podcast. What do you guys do on your podcast?
We are 3 people who like to talk about cars. Our focus is mainly on autocross, although we've brought in people from, that's right, lovely people like the Garage Heroes in Training that we happened to meet and talked about lemons racing.
We did.
And they like cocktails.
We like cocktails. We like to talk. What we really like to do is talk to the people behind the scenes, the people who run the events, or people who, they may not be the people who win all the time, but they're the people who are there and really passionate about the sport or about all of the sports. Those are the folks that we like to bring in and have a conversation with. So
for our listeners who have already listened to episodes with you on here, because this might be your 3rd or 4th time on, but you have raced with us on our home turf, so we must return the favor and go to see you this year at least. But let's talk.
Hilarious.
It will. I highly recommend, if anybody wants to beat somebody, they should go to the week where we're there, because we are going to be taking care of the last place position. It's one of us. But anyway, so Audra, let's talk track racing.
Track racing. Great.
We could do a little HPDE conversation. We could do a little endurance race conversation. What are you thinking about your season? We haven't heard much from your podcast really about what your plans are for this upcoming spring, summer, fall.
That's because
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Once you start racing, you'll start to know that the more information your driver can have, the better. One of the things that we found is that the Sentinel system allows you to be able to not only get your driver the information that they need, but also be able to share the information with the pit and anybody who's got internet availability. You can integrate your AIM data. You can integrate the driver tag, as in who is the driver in the car. You can also integrate in your standings and who is ahead or behind of you into the dash, as well as be able to see flag statuses in case there's a yellow flag or a red flag or a black flag. Hopefully none of those, but they do happen. This was developed by a fellow racer, former guest, James Candelaria, and he is seeing a lot of people using it in the SCCA, WRL, AER, and we are doing demos at our paddocks whenever we are at the track. It could be at a race or it could be at an HPD. If you're interested and want to come in and see how it is, we can give you a demo. And if you find that it's something that would be helpful to your racing, please use our discount code, which will save you 10% on anything that you buy. And it is creatively GHIT, GHIT for Garage Heroes in Training. So hopefully you will find that the Sentinel system is as useful for your racing as we have found it for ours.
That's because some slacker hasn't put together their schedule yet. So my plan, as I just sent you actually the dates for autocross that I'll be there. I'm looking at doing at least, I think, a minimum of 4 HPDEs, and then
Oh,
seeing
nice.
what else I can fill in on these other weekends. We're definitely coming out to, I think, is it July maybe, that I might crash one of your training sessions.
Oh, that would be lovely. That's our favorite. That's the highlight event of the season.
Yeah,
Hit race with NASA Great Lakes. Excellent.
that sounds like a good time. We're also trying to get Kathy out on the track.
That would be fantastic. That would be the best place to do it, actually.
And I think it's, what is it, Labor Day weekend that they're going to do another ladies event, Vicki?
Yeah.
For my
I've only had
birthday?
that on the books. For your birthday, yes.
Excellent. That's awesome.
Yeah, you could get to be surrounded by ladies and not
Oh,
drive.
I know, but I could be an instructor.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
As long
I
as
know
it's not
from
with Vicky.
personal experience that you're an excellent instructor.
Wow. I mean, it checks in the mail. Thank you very much. Because we just wanted to make sure that you have an invite to come play with us anytime.
Yes.
More.
Thank you. Yeah,
Now-
I'm putting the schedule together, and definitely we'll be crashing a couple of events that you'll be at, because it's so fun to come out and get to hang with all of you and
Right.
do some driving, right?
And
It is.
giggle.
Because
Just
I think
giggle.
we refer to it as cross training. The autocross helps your track day. The track day helps your racing. The racing helps your autocross. And the more you can practice, the more skills you can build up. They're complementary, not in opposition. It's not like, oh, I'm an autocross guy and that's all I do. Not in our opinion. And
No.
I think the nice thing is that all of the participants that we've run into, with very, very, very few exceptions, they've all been really great people, and they just want to be able to share the fun, and no pressure to compete, but
That's
just come
the
out and
end
play.
game, right? So nobody's winning massive trophies. There's tire contingencies and things that you can get with autocross, but I don't see anybody winning millions of dollars here. It's all for the fun, right? It's all just for the driving enjoyment, no matter what it is that you choose.
Yeah, and then it's not. Some people take it as a pressure, like they're trying to force me to do this, or they're trying to, they take it the wrong way. It's an excitement for a passion that's really fun, and the excitement in sharing it with somebody, bringing somebody new to it is really, I guess, half the reason we both started podcasts. But
Yeah, absolutely. Getting the message out, talking about it, just, we like to talk about it almost as much as we like doing it,
Mhm.
right?
Exactly.
And getting other people involved in the sports. It's just,
Sure.
It's so great to see.
It's just a rush of just excitement and just fun, adult fun.
And go ahead.
What they say about the most fun thing you can do in a car?
With your clothes on. Yes, with your clothes on. So, since we're recording this ahead of time, and this episode won't come out for a few weeks, let's talk about our devious plan, shall we? Let's talk mini.
Oh yes.
What
We have someone to work on that now, don't we?
What do we need to do to make this happen? Because there's so much logic.
There is. I don't know. Maybe I have just a thought.
Sure.
We have some space in our schedule for shifting points coming up that we could use some lovely guests.
Oh,
And
perhaps
we could use
an
that
invasion.
time to do an intervention.
Oh, yes.
I think interventions are very, very good.
Yes,
And car interventions, like, you can't get any better than a car intervention.
I mean, this is the exact opposite of what people think about with an intervention. We're not looking to take something away. We're looking to add.
I think that we should hop on Audra's podcast as a prep for when she gets ready to come out to join us again.
I think we graciously offer the little amount of skills that we have to help them with their project race car to make it happen.
Ooh.
It needs to happen.
I think it could. I think
Yeah.
with everything going on with everything else, if it races this summer, fall, spectacular. But let's put together, you got to get started. And perhaps it may not make it for this season, but at least it'll be ready for next season.
I think that's a plan, Bill. We need to launch the intervention.
We're getting good at car wrapping.
Yes, we are.
Oh my God.
We can give you a livery.
We could. That's right. I think that would be
everybody gets
entertaining.
all excited about the theming.
Oh my
That's
God.
But think of it.
That's how we do it. That's how we introduce the intervention.
Mhm.
Is the theme, because
That's
she wants to do a theme.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think what we need to do is we need to start the first of a long series, intermittent, but a long series of Shifting Points podcasts on how to take your former daily driver and continue to enjoy and cherish the fun that it's able to offer you.
I absolutely agree.
Okay, we have a plan. It's a
We do
devious
have a
plan.
It's wonderful. Yes, devious and genius.
I'm liking it.
Well, we are more than willing to help people come into the sport, even if we have to force them or tie them to their own car and drag them in and cage it while they're tied to the car. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't know that we have to, there's any tying or forcing. I think there's just like a little push.
A little push. Okay. All right. I was going to say, because the only thing we're concerned about is, we are crossing state lines to go between the places. We don't want to get like a kidnapping or an international grand theft auto.
When somebody's teetering on the edge and you just like give them a little tap.
Okay. All right. Well, we're more than willing. We're more than willing to help people make bad decisions and come enjoy the fun.
Is that really a bad decision if it turns out to be fun?
Well, I mean, there's definitely better decisions, but I'm not sure they're more fun.
But, what could be better?
I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely the ability to absorb the amount of time that you have, or the amount of money that you have, or the amount of energy that you have seems to be endless. I have yet to see the bottom of this hole.
So, well, I've heard what is that podcast that I listen to? They like get you off your couch and come racing.
That sounds like a great podcast.
Yeah.
I think everyone should subscribe to that podcast. If only we knew the title.
If only we knew. And there are worse wastes of money. You could get a boat.
That's true.
That'll take all of your time and money.
That's right. This is good for you. It actually gives you incentive to get in shape, incentive to stay in shape, incentive to be a shape. And remember, round is
my shape is round.
Round is a shape, right? It's just a matter of doing that. I think you guys would have a great time. I think it would be a lot of fun. I think it would be, personally, I think it would be spectacular to see the three of you who really don't profess to be, super mechanically. You're more drivers than mechanics, and you're more. It's not like you've been, wrenching since you were 5.
Not being humble, Bill. It's true.
Yeah. And it would be great to show that, you guys can do this. And with a little help from some friends who are more than willing to help, we'll even come up and throw in some elbow grease and, always available by Zoom or by phone. There's only one thing hard for you guys to do, and that's the cage. And we have some ways we can get around that. We'll figure something out.
Well, let's stage the intervention.
Okay.
See if we can get them there.
It's for their own good.
I think that when they're there, they'll be just so addicted.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's a 2-step thing. I think we have the intervention, and then we get them to an HBDE.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And then once they see it, like you got to go to an HBDE before the race. but I think you were a little apprehensive about going to the HPD. But once you did it, it was different. But I mean, how did you like your first HPD really this year?
Oh,
Or
it was great.
last year?
Yeah, it's 42 degrees and pouring rain. We were hydroplaning, and
what could be better?
Fun. It was so fun.
It's different.
Something like having your instructor saying as you're coming down the straight, going, "Hey, we're a boat right now." So you have no contact with the pavement.
Yeah.
No, it was, all kidding aside, it was a good time, and it was definitely great preparation to go to my first race.
I think again, the cross training, it's complementary. I think the skills that you have, and then I drove with you at your last, I think it was your last HPD at New Jersey. I drove as, right seat with you, and your skills as an autocross driver with the experience you have, you're progressing very quickly through the HPD schedule, but you shouldn't skip the steps because there are differences in there, and they can be subtle. But the advantage you have over somebody, I'm not picking on Vicky, but the advantage you have over somebody like Vicky is you know where the limit is, and you know what you can and can't get away with and how to correct intuitively just from all the repetitions of autocross. Because the one thing with autocross is you get a lot of repetitions. And your car control and car catching capability is evident, even though what were you? You were in HPD 2 this time when I went out with you? 1?
No,
okay. I mean, and you were definitely, you got progressed to 2. That's right.
Right.
Definitely not an HPD 1, but still getting that strong fundamentals it's going to help you. And I think the track will actually help you with your autocross.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Any time that any seat time that you can get, no matter what it is that you're doing, will be complementary to anything else that you're trying to do, right?
It does. And, it's just being able to do things in different ways and different times and different speeds. I'm blanking on her name. Who was your friend that went out for the hyperdrive?
Oh, Lisa.
Right. I just blanked. Sorry. She said after she got done doing the hyperdrive, which is a really controlled lower speed activity because it's lead follow, she's like, I really have no excuse for not being able to go around the sweepers on an autocross course after what we just did in the bowl, especially. And it does. You're not going to see a slalom on the track, but you'll see a series of S's. It's almost the same, different scale.
Yeah, but it's the same motion, right?
Yeah, identical, different speed, different momentum, different scale, but left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right is left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. So I mean,
being smooth is being smooth.
It is.
Whether you're doing it at the fast pace of an autocross or higher speeds with slower pace at a track.
Mm-hmm.
You're still searching for that like smooth motion.
Yep. Same thing with go-karts. Go-karts the same way. It's a different driving style, but the physics and the fundamentals are very complementary. So, Miss
I agree
Audra,
with you. It all goes hand in hand for sure.
It does. So what do we need to do to keep track of Miss Audra and her compadres on her podcast and the upcoming takeover? I mean, intervention. I mean, plead.
Follow and subscribe.
Follow and subscribe.
Podcast.
Well, and, we do, and we are. It's awesome. If they want to keep up with you on Instagram, if they want to keep up with your exploits, how would they do that?
Oh yeah, we're at Shifting Points Podcast on Facebook and Shifting Points on Instagram. We're on Twitter too, but I'm not sure that we actually tweet very much.
See, we tweet a lot, but we don't ever listen to the tweets. I don't know how. I should probably have Vicky do that since she's on Twitter quite a bit. So, Vicky, you're in charge of Twitter now.
Okay.
I've delegated. Don't know how to get to it, but I'll figure that out later.
Okay.
Miss Audra, we're going to help you get that race car. Shifting Points race car. That's what we need.
Oh, Bill and Vicky, I'm going to help you get out to an autocross so that you can feel, the adrenaline that goes along with the fast pace of the autocross course and that great, competitive spirit that is out there.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
All right. So here it is. This is my first shot. This is my creativity, my livery idea, still in draft form. We have the car with vinyl that has a band on it singing, and the car has Stratones written all over it.
Yes. I think that will definitely be an encouragement to get that done.
That's right.
Yes.
We have a vinyl cutter. We can do this. We might have to mock something up ahead of this podcast takeover.
Yep.
Yeah. I believe
I'm
she
in.
mentioned something about Firefly, though.
Firefly, we could do
I
that.
already had imagined.
do Firefly.
Brown
Yeah.
coats.
Yeah.
Coats. That's not a problem. We can do that. We can mock something up. We'll put together a little bit if we have some time.
You could do Kaylee.
You know, the great thing about this is actually, well, I mean, one of the really fun things, we don't get to really dress up our cars too much at autocross, you know.
Oh, we can help with that. That's not a problem. Anytime. Miss Audra, thank you for coming on.
Thank you again. If people are looking for information on what to do as a novice, our episode 3 on shifting points, I definitely recommend listening to that.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
We're going to come out and visit. If we're helping you fix a car, that's great. You know what we do? I got it. We come out, we autocross one day, we work on the car the other day, spend the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a great plan.
I think it's a plan. There's no fail in that plan.
There is no fail. And if we can't fix a car, then we should do 2 days of autocross.
Oh.
Okay. Not a problem. I know a guy who knows something about autocross. Out where they live right near you. I don't know if you know them. Her name's Audra. She's awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, miss.
Thank you very much.
No problem. Have a great night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Audra,
Hey, how are you?
I'm beaten up today.
She fought the law and the law won.
Uh-oh, what happened?
It's just garage weekend. We're trying to get the Civic, the yellow car, up for an HPDE, not this weekend, but next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So
How close are you? Because you did
Very close.
Yeah?
yeah, but the last 10 minutes takes days.
Oh,
Yeah. So
gosh.
we got the dashboard dummied in. It just needs to be mounted. The issue that we're having today is that our seat is not sliding.
Oh,
Alan said we need to loosen the bolts on from the seat rail to the chassis and get it to slide and then tighten it.
Yeah. So we're inserting the seat. We got it to turn over, which is good. It does start. We need to get a power steering belt put in. Now, I think when I go back in tomorrow, I'm going to do brakes and tires and all that kind of stuff. What else has to get done? I need to wrap the door handles so they can go on because we're car wrapping at the same time. And then we got to wire it up.
oh wow.
Wiki.
Yeah, we got to wire up all the gauges now. So, but like we're close. We're really
Sounds
close.
like a lot.
It's a lot of little things.
It's just little stuff, and it's little time-consuming stuff. Well, not overly time-consuming, but the dashboard was not the dashboard. The seat slider was a hiccup. We got the hook, the eye hooks up underneath, so we can hook the harnesses. We got to get the harnesses in. And that's not going to be an issue. I had to finish painting a section of the roll bar today. And what else? I was finishing making and installing the brackets for the new oil cooler that we have in there now. So we kind of have metal and the cutters and the grinders and all that kind. We got a tabletop grinder, so it's just kind of you clean it up. And right now I got a piece that's hanging that I just spray painted and ready to go in. And once that's in, the oil cooler's in. So it's nice and just far enough away from the radiator that it's not going to do any damage or shimmy or whatever. So
You're not helping me with what my topics are for tonight.
oh,
If you had, but just one question, if you had to swag it, how many hours do you think you've had in it, and how many hours do you think you have to go?
So the correct answer is probably twice as many as we should have, because we're still the in training people.
Mhm.
Like other people could probably get this done in like a week or two, and we're overly cautious and a lot of times, like when you have a project, you know, when you're if you're like building a house, you buy all the 2x4s and you buy the plywood and you buy the nails and whatever. We always forget to buy the nails or one 2x4 too few or something. So, you know, constantly like hurry up and wait for Rock Auto to send us parts. So as we get better, we'll have less of those.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, we're so close to get done, and the car was already relatively good. It just needed to be flipped over. It's not like we had to start fresh, and do this. We already took a car that was a sprint racer or like a glorified HPDE car.
It was a sprint. So it was a sprint racing car.
Yeah, but basically, you know, it was already gutted, but it didn't have a roll cage.
It did.
It
Just had a roll cage.
Yeah, that's right. It did have a roll cage. It had bad seat setup. It had an exhaust system that's cut in half because it came out from under the car, not out at the back end of the car. So we had to put a new exhaust system in.
That's fine for sprint racing, but when you're have the car running for 8 or 10 hours and you got the exhaust coming out like right in front of the gas tank, it's not a great car.
Not good. So
unless you want to heat your gas for you, that's
and then of course Jennifer and I wrapped the car. So we're theming at the same time. So we have a car wrap going at the same time.
So are you doing the Wilson sisters? So I still think I have a great idea for that.
Well, I can show her.
Yeah, you can.
Hold on.
You can show her.
You know, like in World War II, and they had the girls that would go entertain the troops.
Yeah.
With the flowy skirts and the nice chunky heels and the little hats. I see the three of you like that. I think that would be the best thing. The Wilson sisters,
We'll
you know?
have to do that for the next one.